Hi children, a continuation of the previous video, that is genetic problems related to the principles of inheritance. In this video we will be cracking problems based on codominance and incomplete dominance. So we know what is coming under codominance. A good example is the human blood groups. We have 4 blood groups: blood group A, blood group B, blood group AB and blood group O. And you should be familiar with the genotypes of A. It is IA or IA small I. Blood group B, it is IB or IB small I. Blood group AB, it is IB and blood group O, it is small I. This should be in your mind to crack problems. So the problems: a woman with blood group O married a man with blood group AB. Show the possible blood groups of the progeny. So a woman who is having, so here the gender does not matter, it is a blood group. So I am not indicating the sex here. So P1 or parents, O gets married, O woman gets married to an AB man. It can be vice versa. Here I told you not the gender is important, it is the blood group. Now this is only the phenotype. So how is the genotype of O represented? Small I, and genotype of AB, IA, IB. So this is the question: O married AB, show the possible blood groups of the progeny. So we have to show possibility of the progeny. So the same format, gametes. Here all the gametes will have only small I, so I am showing it by one gamete. Here there are 2 types of gametes, one bearing IA, the other gamete bearing IB. Now F1 generation, this cross this and this cross this. So we have IA small I and IB small I. So now what are the blood groups of their children? A group one child will have and the other child will have B group. Need not be in this order, A and then the other should compulsory have B. Possibilities of the children having A and B is high. They will not get O or AB. So there are certain scenarios, we will put it across to you. There is a court case of the husband doubting the wife or the wife doubting the husband based on the blood grouping. So you can settle it by this cross and showing that the O is always small I, so there is no confusion, but the AB is having the 2 types, IA, IB, and therefore the offsprings born, the possibilities are A group and B group. There is no chance of getting the mother's O and the father's AB. So this is a very simple cross, direct question. Second question: a man with blood group A married a woman with blood group B. They have a son with AB group and a daughter with O group. Work out the cross and show the possibility of such a inheritance. So we see A marries B. Okay, so I am giving the genotype, but now I have to decide the genotype. They are saying that the son that is born to them is AB. So one child is AB while the other child is O. Now you should be very wise in deciding which A. See, we can decide on this, which blood group. There are 2 options for A, IA or IA small I. Then here IB or IB small I. So we have to decide whether the parent is this homozygous A or heterozygous A, and whether this parent is homozygous B or heterozygous B. You can immediately jump to the conclusion that this parent is heterozygous A and this parent is heterozygous B from this offspring. This offspring, why is this offspring O? This offspring is O because this offspring, what is this offspring? O is a girl or boy? Yes, she is a girl. So this offspring, she has got I, small I. O means it is represented by small I. So this small I she got from here and this small I she got from here. So definitely the only option is to give this parent as IA small I and this parent should be IB small I. Only then we can get this child. Now the other child is easy. IA, the gametes are IA small I, here the gametes are IB small I. Now how was this child formed? IA crossed IB. So we got IA, IB, and that's how we got this child. And how we got this child, O child, this small I was crossed with this small I. Clear? So I got into the conclusion that the parents are heterozygous because of that O child. And also this AB need not decide. AB, it can be even this. If I would have taken this child as a criteria to decide, then I could be misled that it could have been this parent and this parent, because I get one A from here and one B from here. But that O only made me decide that the parents are not pure A and pure B or homo A, homo B, they are heterozygous, because that O child got small I from one parent and the other small I from the other parent. Third question, can a child have blood group O if his or her parents have blood group A and B? Show with a cross. Yes, the same like the previous question. Yes, a child can be O, having the genotype small I if the parents are A and B. So one parent is A parent, the other parent is B parent. But which A will decide? Capital A, IA, small I, IB, small I. Now the gametes are IA here, small I here, IB here, small I here. Now here the child in question is only this type was born. So you just cross this with this. Don't make the unnecessary crosses. So yes, O child, O group child can be born out of parents which are A and B group. Here also you can talk about dispute of a child being doubted of the couples. So you can settle it with this. Okay, so there are different scenarios, and now you all are having that type of board questions. Okay, they give a scenario. Yes, O child can be born of a parent who's A and the other parent who's B. So the parent definitely should be heterozygous A and the other parent should be heterozygous B. It just is almost similar to the second question. So like there are many blood group questions. Just remember the genotypes and then you can easily cross and work it out. Next, moving on to incomplete dominance. The very color of the slide indicates what is incomplete dominance. Red flower crossed with white flower of snapdragon, we get pink flowers. That's why I have taken this purposely. So that you must remember incomplete dominance, because red is partially dominant and white is partially dominant, and therefore there is a blending of red and white and gives a new expression, pink. So I am reading, when a garden pea plant. So better than answering the 1 and 2, I will answer the third question. A plant anterior majus with red flowers was crossed with another plant of the same species with white flowers. Trace the inheritance of the flower up to F2, indicating the genotypes and phenotypes. Here no confusion, because capillar stands for red, capillar small r stands for pink, and small r stands for white. So there is no confusion with problems related to snapdragon or anterior majus or dog flower, because the 3 genotypes stands for 3 different phenotypes. But the only thing, this is the simplest problem, the third one is the simplest direct problem, but only thing, it comes not direct like this way, it comes like the other version, which is 1 and 2. Let me first solve the simple problem. So I am using the space, red flower is crossed with white flower, and we know the genotype capillar is crossed with white small r. This is the parents. Here we indicated phenotype and genotype. Now gametes, here the gamete capillar and here the gamete is small r. You cross it, you get pink flowers. So this side is the first generation. Now proceed to the second generation. How will proceed? P2 selfing. Pink is crossed with pink. So the gametes here you get capital R, small r, capital R, small r, and now you get the F2 generation, capital R, small r, capital R, small r, small r, small r. This indicates white, these two indicates pink, and the capillar indicates red. So you get it in the ratio 1:2:1. Okay, don't forget to indicate pink. So problems related to Snapdragon or Dogflaw is one and the same right across till F2 generation, and you get the ratio 1:2:1. No extra thinking and all, it's like, but the type of problem that usually comes. So I started off with the third purposely because that's simple direct problem. Now how it usually comes? It comes in combination with another problem like comparison with garden pea, etc. See, look at the first one. When a garden pea plant with violet flowers were crossed with another plant, white flowers were obtained, 50% of the progeny bore violet flowers. Work out the cross. Give the significance of this cross. How does the inheritance pattern of this flower differs from Snapdragon? So actually when they told 50%, it gives you a clue, it is a test cross. Okay, violet was crossed with white, and here 50%, from that I gave you the clue. When you hear 50% means that violet was not capital V, it is capital V small v. So you go ahead with capital V small v cross with small v, and definitely you get this 50%. That is, you get violet 50% and white 50%. Okay. So that you worked out the cross, and 50% in the previous video I told you, when you hear 50-50, it's understood it's heterozygote parent. If you hear it as 100%, the parent is homozygous. So that very same question is asked here. And then they ask, second part is, what is the significance of this cross? So when you saw the cross, it is similar to our, look at this, similar to our test cross. So what is this cross called? It is called a test cross. And lastly, how is it different from the pattern of inheritance with Snapdragon? So you have to give what I have dealt with: incomplete dominance, all the features coming under incomplete dominance and complete dominance. So one feature which we can highlight is, in complete dominance one character is expressed while the other character is suppressed, whereas in incomplete dominance both the characters are partially expressed. Second, how is a progeny resembling in complete dominance? It resembles one of the parent. Here it does not resemble any of the parent or none of the parents. And lastly, very importantly, the ratio, phenotypic ratio of the F2 generation is in complete dominance it's 3:1, whereas in incomplete dominance it is 1:2:1, which I worked out when I did the third problem. So that is the way usually incomplete dominance comes. Now the second problem, the inheritance pattern of the flower color of garden pea and Snapdragon differs. So it crosses up to F2 generation. So again it is like our comparison question where you are doing a cross between violet white to indicate 3:1 ratio of garden pea, and here this side you are indicating the cross between red and white, and you are getting the ratio 1:2:1. So you work out the cross completely and derive at the ratio 3:1 for complete dominance or Mendel's law, and 1:2:1 for Snapdragon, which is indicating incomplete dominance. And that 1:2:1, remember this 1 stands for red, the 2 stands for pink, and the 1 stands for white. If you are talking about violet versus white of garden pea, it is 3:1, which indicate 3 violets to 1 white. So always when you make a comparison, please bring violet flowers versus red flowers. Violet flowers of garden pea and the red flowers of Snapdragon. So the most easiest problems are the ones which are coming under incomplete dominance, because the surety of the phenotype and genotype. So that's why the CBSE has now brought in combinations. First case they brought it in combination with test cross. Second case they brought it with combination with Mendelian's complete dominance. These are the usual types of questions asked for the board exam. So I hope you have understood codominance and incomplete dominance.